Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to do a review of the Albrecht Durer watercolor pencils. Now these are from Faber Castell. I have been using them for a few years, but as we gear up for the watercolor pencil battle, I am reviewing every single pencil individually before we do the battles. So let's talk about the Albrecht Durer. I have had these a couple years now. I really enjoy them. I love the case they come in, and I probably will never pull them out of the case. So it comes in this metal tin, and then it has these little trays here with honestly what reminds me of a hair tie. And you lift them out, and there is a little padding underneath protecting the next layer. The reason I don't want to pull them out of here, they smell so good, and I to this day regret pulling out my polychromos. So speaking of polychromos, these are kind of like a complement with the polychromos in a way. They are the exact same color palette as the polychromos. Now names may differ because they haven't updated or changed the names on the Albrecht Durer, but they have changed them on polychromos. So if you're ever trying to, say, put down a wash of your Albrecht Durer watercolor pencil and you want to go over it with a polychromos, pay attention to the number. The number has stayed the same. I just wanted to make sure that was pretty clear. Okay, so the polychromos is a round barrel. This is hexagon. It does still have the color dipped end. And then on the pencil, come on camera, what are we doing? There we go. It says made in Germany, Albrecht Durer, Faber Castell. This little symbol lets you know it's water soluble. And then all of them are labeled with their name, number, and light fast rating, okay? They are a 3.8 millimeter lead. They're really lightweight. Honestly, they're lighter weight than the polychromos, but they're still a very good, high quality pencil, artist grade. Are they the highest light fast? No, that would be Caran d'Ache Museum Aquarelles. But the light fast ratings on these bad boys is not too shabby, which we'll get to in a minute. So first things first, I like to use my little test sheet and I will work on it with you guys. So let's talk about laying these down dry. I'm going to grab a color that's just a little bit easier to see, and let me zoom you in. So let's start with just the dry lay down, okay? And these can be used wet or dry. You don't actually have to activate these. So you could purchase these and use them dry, and they are so smooth when they go down. Now if you do use these dry, you'll want to layer them. They're not a very waxy, opaque pencil. They're quite transparent. However, they are soft. If you're comparing them to, say, their polychromos partner, these are definitely a lot softer. So on my thing here, I would say these are most definitely smooth. All right. Now we are going to work on activating them in a few different ways. So I'm just going to put down a light layer, and we'll activate one using a water brush, and the other one we're going to use a Tombow colorless blender. And the reason I like to test them that way is because I actually like to activate my watercolors that way sometimes. It just adds a little variety. It's fun. It's something to do. Alright, so let me get my brush wet. I am using a water brush, but that's because most of this review is going to apply for adult coloring. That said, don't think it doesn't apply to you if you do use these for art. So let's see how it activates. Look at that. Absolutely perfect. It dissolves the second the water touches it. So no problem there whatsoever. Let's activate it with a Tombow. So it's just one of these colorless blenders from Tombow. Again, activating perfectly. Now, not a lot of watercolor pencils, and you can drag it as well. Not a lot of watercolor pencils will activate with a colorless blender. Okay, let me get a little bit on my palette over here. Oh, I apologize for the jets. Okay, so let's pull some off the palette. Now, if you put it on your palette, you're going to get a different consistency, but you still want to check it out. Now, look at that. Off the palette, that is really bright and gorgeous. Oh wow, I love this color. It's Delft blue. Okay, now from the tip, this is what I do to like touch up spots. Say I want to darken or add a little more, but look at that. The pigment is gorgeous. It comes right off of there. Okay, now these ones here, I am going to activate this and then see if it will lift with my tissue paper. And then on this one, we'll let it dry and come back in a little bit and see if it reactivates. So let's go with this one first. See, look at how quickly that dissolves. We get some lifting, which is good. Now, with traditional watercolors, you're going to get a lot better lifting, but that's because you don't have something scratching into the tooth of your paper. I'm going to activate this one. Once it's dry, we'll come back and see if it'll reactivate. Look how easily they activate. So real quick, dissolves well, and it's nice and vibrant. Dissolves well and vibrant again, I would say. Dissolves well for both of these and definitely vibrant. It does lift, and not all the way, but you're never going, I mean, this is a staining color for one. So, all right, let's talk about transparency and how well the pigment drags. So that's what this box is for. I'm going to grab my dark indigo, and what I do is I fill this whole box here, and I put a little bit extra down because I want some pigment. And then what I do is I go ahead and get this wet, and then I just start dragging just to see how far out we can drag the color. It actually drags out pretty far. And as you can see, it's very transparent, which is great. Now, blendability. I like to blend 3 colors, and one of my favorites to do is just a red, orange, yellow. So let me grab, I'm just grabbing some colors at random. Okay, so we'll do some yellow. But yeah, these are really smooth to put on paper, and I've actually been meaning to start coloring with them dry more. Oops, sorry about that. Camera wants to autofocus. So I may start doing more dry applications because honestly, I absolutely love these pencils when wet, but I would love to play around with them when they're dry. And they are a wax-based or wax-leaning, as I like to say, because I'll always get that one comment of everything is, they contain a mall. I know that. I'm just trying to help guide you so you have an idea. The nice thing about these, though, is because they're not super waxy, you don't get wax bloom when you use them dry. That's why I want to try using them dry more. Of course, I'm not a big layering fan. All right, so let's activate. It's like butter. They just activate so smooth. I mean, look at that. Like, it was flawless. It took like no work there whatsoever. All right, this one up here is dry, so let's go ahead and try and reactivate it real quick. Drag the color out. We got a tiny bit of reactivation, but so tiny it could have just been pigment that I didn't dissolve fully. So I'm going to say it doesn't, and for me that's not a big deal. However, when you use these on watercolor paper and whatnot, you may notice you'll have different results. Let me zoom you back out now so you can kind of see the chart here. So we have the dry application activated with a water brush, activated with a colorless blender, and they're pretty close to one another, although this is actually a little more vibrant. Off the palette, it's going to be completely smooth because you're not dissolving any pencil lines, and it looks beautiful. Same thing with the tip. Lifting, you can see it did lift a little, but we have some staining, and then reactivating, not so much. It did drag quite nicely, and all of these are quite transparent. You're not going to have a really opaque color here. And then the blendability, jets. The blendability is really nice. So I wanted to show you a page I've done in an adult coloring book. Okay. So here is a page I've done with Albrecht Durers. About the only thing that isn't is the white wings. I do have a full color along on my channel for this if you want to watch it. But look at how pretty this is. Now this is from Flower Fairies coloring book. I blended different colors. You know, I did the sky. It has that watercolor look, but it's just so pretty. Now I could go in with those colors and do some shading as well and use the watercolor as a base, but I just liked the way it turned out, and it dissolved great on this paper too, which is a very, very smooth ivory cardstock. But the tutorial for this is on my channel if you want to check it out. But yeah, I think these color absolutely beautifully. I have zero complaints with them. Okay, so now we have the watercolor paper. This is just my Etcher cold press 100% cotton sketchbook that you can't ever seem to get your hands on now. Let me zoom you in. It's quite depressing. I know they came out with the perfect sketchbook, but those are sold out right now too. So I have been meaning to email them and ask them what's going on. But let's see how these do. Oh, these dissolve perfectly on watercolor paper. Oh, let me zoom you guys in more. I really want you to be able to see that. Okay, watch this one here. Look at that. I mean, the color, and you can even see it soaking in. Wow, they dissolve absolutely perfect. And this color, by the way, is that purple we did here. So they're more vibrant on watercolor paper. Just something to keep in mind. I mean, goodness gracious, look at that color. Wow, they get shortchanged in adult coloring, don't they? Okay, so let's talk about some details, such as light fast. You can get this chart from Faber Castell's website, but basically they have 1 to 3 star rating. 3 star is the highest, meaning it will withstand gallery lighting conditions. If you're an adult colorist, this really should not matter to you unless you plan to hang your pictures at home, but even then they won't be in gallery lighting. And are you going to hang them for 100 years? You know what I mean? Like, so in the adult coloring realm, not so much. But if you're doing commissioned artwork or, you know, anything like that, or coloring a page, say, that you want to frame and give away as a gift, you might want to consider the light fastness. That said, out of that 120 set, which we have here, there are 64 that are 3 star. Now, I want to point this out because Korilynn Dash's Museum Aquarelles are the highest light fast rating pencils. But you should not discount something like Albrecht Durer because 64 of their colors are indeed at the highest rating. Now, take that, 48 colors are 2 star, again, a great rating. And then only 8 are rated at the lowest. So that's definitely something you want to keep in mind. You really don't have a lot of 2 star ones. Now, there are some 1 star. Did I say, yeah, sorry. 8 are rated as 1 star, but that's only 8 out of the whole thing. Now, when you go on their website, you can get this chart and it'll tell you what color is in what set. They come in 12, 24, 36, 60, 72, and 120 sets. You can also buy these open stock from Blick, Jackson's, Jerry's Artorama, Cheap Joe's. All of those places have them. So that's something to keep in mind. So let's talk. They have a total of 120 colors. Again, 64 are the highest rating in light fastness, and 48 are in second, which is more than enough colors for a great commissioned art piece. So if you were to buy the 120 count set itself, it is right now, at the time I'm recording this, $200 and some change on Amazon, or you can buy it from Blick for $219.99. You can buy the 120 count at Jackson's, which I don't recommend, for $317. Just don't do it. That's crazy. Now, open stock pricing, however, is where you'll find Jackson's is actually the cheaper one. So I buy my open stock at Jackson's because it's only $2.01 a pencil. Whereas open stock at Blick is $2.65 per pencil. If you mix and match 12 or more Albrecht Durer colors, it only drops to $2.62. So it's cheaper for me to get them at Jackson's because I'll often be ordering like paints or something else at Jackson's at the time. So if you want my opinion, Jackson's for open stock, and then Amazon or Blick if you're going to buy the set outright. Now, if you want to get a smaller set, the sets I recommend that have pretty decent pricing are their 12 count set, which is $16, and that is on Amazon. Their 36 count set is $46, so that's not too shabby. Or you can snag their 60 count set for $81. Now, I did a video of the 12 colors that come in the Albrecht Durer set of 12 and what you can do with those 12 pencils. You can do a lot with those 12 pencils, so I highly recommend buying the 12 set to try out, get yourself started. You can create a mixing chart with those 12, and you can make so many colors using just those 12 pencils. You don't actually need to go buy the 120 set. If, however, you have full set syndrome, or you are lazy and don't want to layer and mix colors, I'm talking about myself, then buy the 120 set, which is why I give you the pricing. However, it's a great deal to grab that 12 count set, and the colors in there are versatile. And again, I do have a video letting you know how to mix those 12 colors and what you could create with it. So, what overall do I think? Do I recommend these? Absolutely. I recommend these for beginners and those who have used watercolor pencils before. They are made by a company that's been around longer than myself. And they are a reputable company. They take their quality control very seriously. Pigment information is not available openly on their site. However, I am trying to get a hold of them so I can get some pigment info, and I'll try to link that in the description below once I get it for you. That said, these are beautiful pencils. You have a great number of them with amazing light fastness. They lay down beautifully dry. They activate like nothing. I mean, you can have almost a dry brush and they'll still activate. They are gorgeous pencils. I love using them. I honestly don't have many negatives. Usually I'll have like my pros and cons, and I'll have a con, but I don't have any. I have never had ridiculous breakage issues. I've purchased them open stock and I just slide them back into my trays. I wish I could give you something bad, but honestly, these are my favorite pencil. When I want to do watercolor pencils, I grab these. So they are really going to be hard to beat with my other brands that I have. That said, let's not assume that these are going to be the winner of the watercolor pencil battle, because that is down the road and that could be totally different. All right, so like I said, I definitely recommend these. You can snag that 12 count set, and so I highly suggest now clicking one of the videos that'll be right here on the screen. I will have the tutorial in one and what to do with the 12 pencils in another. Watch those videos to get an idea and see these pencils in action, and you can see how versatile they are. I have done some live streams as well. You can go check those out. And then, yeah, let me know in the comments below what you think of the Albrecht Durer, if you enjoy them. And until next time, take care. Bye now.